It's the 27th of February, 2011. We're at Wembley Stadium for the League Cup final between Arsenal and Birmingham City. There are just 2 minutes left of normal time to play, and keeper Ben Foster has just sent a free kick long and high into the Arsenal penalty area. What we're about to see will have a huge impact on both clubs, create a lasting image that will haunt one man and bring a long-awaited trophy to one of these two fan bases. To tell the story of this incredible moment, we have to take a deep dive. First, who are these teams? Arsenal Football Club is one of the biggest football teams in the world and one of the most successful in England. At this point, Arsenal have won 25 major trophies and 39 in total. 10 of those have come under the management of Frenchman Arsene Wenger, who is now in his 25th year of management. But it's been 6 years since Arsenal last won silverware of any kind, with their last trophy coming in a penalty shootout win against Manchester United to win the FA Cup in 2005. But only 4 players are left in the squad today who are there to witness their last trophy: Gaël Clichy, Robin van Persie, Manuel Almunia and Cesc Fabregas. Arsenal come into this match having only won the League Cup twice in their history, compared to the 10 FA Cups they had at that point. A win in 1987 over a difficult Liverpool side, and a win in 93 over Sheffield Wednesday to complete a cup double. But Arsenal were beaten by Chelsea in 2007 and suffered 2 famous defeats to Luton Town in 88 and 3rd division side Swindon Town in 1969. But here they are, once again, in a cup final, against a team who've had much less success. Birmingham City, unlike Arsenal, have won just one major trophy in their entire 136-year history up until this point. A win in this very competition in fact, a 1963 triumph over fierce rivals Aston Villa over 2 legs, 3-1 at St Andrews and 0-0 at Villa Park. But ever since then, the Blues have been living in the shadows of their second city rivals. Birmingham bounced between the 2nd and 3rd divisions in the 80s before finally settling in the 2nd division in the late 90s. Where under the management of Trevor Francis, they became giant killers in the League Cup. In 1996, they made it all the way to the semi-finals before eventually losing to a strong Leeds United team. Then 5 years later, they went one better. In 2001, 2nd division side Birmingham City knocked out 3 Premier League teams on their way to the final in Cardiff. A 3-1 win at Tottenham Hotspur, a last-minute goal which saw Newcastle United fall at St Andrews, and high flyers Ipswich Town were put to the sword 4-2 on aggregate in the semi-finals to set up a meeting with Liverpool in the final at Cardiff. When Robbie Fowler put the Premier League side ahead in the first half, it looked as if they'd run away with things. However, Birmingham kept themselves in the game, and thanks to a rash challenge by Gary McAllister, Birmingham were awarded a penalty in the last minute of the game. And when Darren Purse coolly slotted in that said penalty, the 2001 League Cup final headed into extra time. No more goals would be scored in that period, and it was time for Birmingham players to keep their nerve once again. But with the 10th penalty of the shootout, striker Andy Johnson had to score or else they'd lose.
Can he? Save! It's a horrible moment for the young man, but it is Liverpool's trophy, a cup in the cabinet.
Now, just 10 years and 2 days later, Birmingham City are here once again in a League Cup final, this time at Wembley. And these two teams took quite similar routes to Wembley. Both had to go through extra time in one of their ties, both knocked out their biggest rivals, both won their quarterfinals at home, and both lost their first leg of the semi-finals away from home. Birmingham were beaten 2-1 at West Ham before winning the return leg 3-1. And Arsenal were beaten at Ipswich 1-0 before they too won their return leg 3-0. But how are their league seasons going? Well, Arsenal are currently embroiled in a title race, sitting in 2nd place, 4 points behind Manchester United. Birmingham on the other hand are stuck in a relegation dogfight in 16th place, 2 points ahead of the drop zone. Both league games ended in Arsenal victories, meaning that going by the situations these two teams find themselves in, Arsenal are clearly the strong favourites to take the trophy. But how is it still tied this very late in the game? Well, just 2 minutes into the start of the game, Lee Bowyer is put through on goal, takes the ball past Wojciech Szczesny, and is taken out by the Arsenal keeper. But the referee blows for an offside on Boyer, even though replay showed he's clearly onside. That would have been a penalty for Birmingham and Arsenal down to 10. However, those things happen and you've just got to carry on. Despite this, Birmingham have a corner and pull off a trading ground routine which sees a ball headed towards a man standing at 2.02 metres or 6'7", right in front of a slightly shorter keeper, which could only mean one thing.
And he's into that crowd of players and they've scored! Against all the odds! Zigic on target!
Then, 10 minutes later, Jack Wilshere hits a rocket that smacks off the crossbar, falls to Arshavin on the edge of the box, who beats a man and crosses in for... That's both main strikers on the score sheet for their teams, and thanks to the woodwork again, Kevin Fahey is inches away from giving Birmingham a 2-1 lead. Arsenal continue to pile the pressure on, but thanks to some superb goalkeeping and reactions by Ben Foster to keep out Nicholas Bentner, the score still stays 1-1. But as we see, Ben Foster again, sending a free kick deep inside the Arsenal half. There are some interesting characters to point out. First, the ball is obviously being sent towards the giant himself, Nikola Zigic, who is in his first season at the club. The 30-year-old Serbian international had spent the last 4 years playing in La Liga with Valencia and Racing Santander, having scored 29 goals, before securing a £6 million move to Birmingham in the summer of 2010. But his campaign has not been so fruitful. In the first 5 months of the season, Zigic has only racked up 4 goals, 2 in the league and 2 in the cup. However, February has been Zigic's best month of the season so far. 3 straight league games on the score sheet and a goal in the 29th minute of this final. His aerial prowess has been essential for Birmingham throughout the season, and is very much needed right now, as he's almost certainly going to head this ball towards an unrushing teammate. And the closest guy is a man who knows a thing or two about scoring crucial goals in cup finals. Obafemi Martins is a Nigerian international who's famously known for his acrobatic celebrations and his powerful strikes of a football. He's incredibly scored 28 goals in 88 league games for both Newcastle United and Inter Milan. And at the latter, Martins won the Serie A title in 2006 and won back-to-back Coppa Italias in 2005 and 2006, the second of which he'd scored a game-killing third goal against Roma. After a spell in Germany and Russia, Martins looked to return back to England to be closer with his family after the birth of his child. A loan deal between Rubin Kazan and Birmingham City was sealed on a deadline day in January, only 3 weeks ago. Now, he's come on in the 83rd minute, looking to get one chance to become an instant hero. All he needs is for Zigic's header to be perfectly directed towards him. But this man sees this situation in a completely different way. Just like the other 2 players, Laurent Koscielny too is in his first season at the club. The French centre-back joined Arsenal from French club Lorient for just under £8.5 million. A rapid rise from the bench of a Ligue 2 club to an Arsenal centre-back in just 4 years is testament to his quality as a footballer. And Arsenal is a club that already has a French manager and already had 6 other French players in his team, so it wouldn't have taken long for Laurent to integrate into this team. He's had an interesting start to his Arsenal career. He was sent off on his debut against Liverpool, with both yellows coming after the 90th minute, and just 3 games later, his first ever goal for Arsenal. Another red card against Newcastle and another goal against Ipswich in the League Cup semi-final. Now, he's falling back to anticipate a missed header from Zigic, which would allow him to just clear the ball and snuff out the danger. But he's really deep, and this is usually the keeper's ball. Arsenal must hold on to take it to extra time and win their first trophy in 6 years, and first since moving to the Emirates Stadium. Birmingham City have the chance to win their first trophy in almost 50 years and only their second ever in their history to complete a remarkable upset if they can find a goal. Zigic needs to head the ball onto the direction of Obafemi Martins. Martins needs to make sure that he gets onto the end of his header. If Zigic does miss, Koscielny needs to get the timing of this bounce right, get a good connection to the clearance to avoid any mishaps. Or he could just take the safe option and let the ball bounce towards the keeper. Well, let's see what happens.
And it goes again towards the towering Zigic. Oh, confusion, and Martins has surely scored the winning goal for Birmingham.